All right, in this one, we are going to be talking about solving quadratics, but by taking square roots, right? So this is coming right off of reducing square roots because we'll do that as part of our options here. But we want to actually solve for variables. So we're going to mix those two ideas together. So let's get started right here with this. So thinking about just solving equations in general, I am trying to undo everything around my variable so that I can get my variable to stand alone on one side of the equation. So on this one, let's undo the minus 4. So let's add 4 to this side, and that's going to add us to add 4 to that side. So then I'm going to end up with n squared, this goes away, is equal to 16. Okay? So now we're going to take that next step. How do I undo a squared? Well, its inverse is a square root function. So we are going to square root both sides. So when we do that, the square and the square root cancel each other off. So we get n is equal to the square root of 16. Now here's what we want to do is know automatically when you square root or when you're solving for a quadratic, it automatically creates a positive and a negative value. And we'll take a look at that in just a second when you're solving, okay? So then let's think about, okay, what are some things that I can break 16 down into? How about 8 and 2? And then 8 into 4 and 2, and then 4 into 2 and 2. And so we talked about this last time. I'm trying to find partners. Well, these 2's are partners. And these 2 are partners. And guess what? There's nothing left on the outside edges of these things when I do that. So I'm going to bring a 2 out of this. I'm going to bring another 2 out of this. So if I brought a 2 out, I'm going to have a 2. And then I have to multiply anything else I bring out. And then what do I have left underneath? Nothing. So therefore, we would just make this go away. And we just got to multiply 2 times 2. So it's 4. So my answer is going to be positive and negative 4. There are 2 answers. And we call this the fundamental rule of algebra, essentially, that says whatever my biggest exponent is, that's how many answers I should end up with. So 2 as an exponent, I should end up with 2 answers, and I do, positive 4 and negative 4, because check this out. If I were to plug those right back in here, positive 4 squared is 16, because 4 times 4 is 16, minus 4 is 12. Let's try plugging a negative 4 in there. Negative 4 squared, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16 again. Minus 4 is 12. So both of these work. All right, there's my answer right there, using the square root idea here, okay? Let's move over to this one. All right, if you want to go ahead and give it a shot by yourself, pause it and give it a shot. Otherwise, let's do it. All right, to undo, subtract 2 from both sides. So now I'm going to get n squared is equal to 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, we're fine. Square root, that's going to get rid of the square. So now I got n is equal to plus or minus. We're going to try to figure out what the square root of 0 is. Well, the square root of 0 is, in fact, 0. So it's plus or minus 0, but we know that there is no such thing as a positive or negative 0. So we are actually going to claim this as just 0. Now, that is 2 answers. Both of those answers happen to be 0, though. So 0 is our answer on this one. We just didn't need a plus or minus because it doesn't make sense with 0. All right, let's try another one. Okay, this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky because now it's not going to come out to nice, great numbers like that. So now we got to use our skills we just got finished doing. But let's do it. Add 5 to both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to get r squared is equal to, if I add 5 to that, we're going to get what? 83, right? Okay, 83. What do we do next? We square root both sides. All right, so square root that. So then I'm going to get r is equal to plus or minus, I want you to remember that, plus or minus, the square root of 83. Technically, what we have right now is the answer. So that is it. But here's what we want to do. Always try to break this down. Can I break this down and try to simplify any? So I get what? 83 and 1. 83 doesn't simplify down. I don't believe it does, right? I'm going to try 83 divided by 2, not good. 83 divided by 3, no good. 83 divided by 5, 83 divided by 4, 83 divided by 6, 83 divided by 7, 83 divided by 8, and 83 divided by 9. Man, I'm not really seeing anything that fits there. 83 divided by 17, maybe it's a prime number? No. 83 divided by 13? Nothing. So I don't see 83 actually breaking down any, so we're just going to leave it like that, right? As we have a final answer there. That's what we got, okay? So now let's do this one right here. All right, here we go. Negative 5r squared is equal to negative 325. So I'm going to, this one's just going to straight up divide by negative 5. You got to undo, and we remember anytime you're undoing, you're thinking sad mep. So the last things that I'm going to start working on is like, I don't want to undo the exponents before I've undone the division and multiplication, right? So you always think through that. So don't try to square root it right away, because that will cause some problems. Divided by negative 5 here. Okay, so then we're going to go there, negative 5, negative 5. So I'm going to go r squared equals, now we know that a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, so I really got 325 divided by 5, and it looks like we're going to have 65 there. Okay, now we got to get rid of that square, so we're going to square root both sides. And now we got r is equal to, we got plus or minus, remember plus or minus, and then we got square root of 65. So this is technically the answer. We want to try to simplify it down as much as we can. So let's see, if we did 65, take away 5, that's going to give me, so I can get 13 and 5. Does 13 break down any? Nope. Okay, that's it then. That's, right, there is no matchups there, so we're just going to leave it like that. That's the best we can do, and that's what we're about, right? Trying to get it as far as we can, okay? All right, let's try one more here. Let's go, actually 2 more, right? So subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, that's going to give me 7x squared is equal to 315. Okay, so now let's get that 7 off of there and divide by 7 on both sides. And that's going to give me x squared is equal to, let's try 315 divided by 7. Okay, that's going to be 45. Perfect. And now let's get that square root off, or the square off there, sorry, by square rooting. Okay. And then that's going to leave me with x squared equals plus or minus square root of 45. So that's our technical answer here. Let's see if we can simplify. So let's see, I know that 9 and 5 go into 45, and then I know that 9 is 3 and 3. Well, here we go. Here's a partnership there and a left alone there. So bring the 3 out. So we are going to get a new answer here, a simplified answer. X squared equals plus or minus 3 square root of, and the 5 doesn't have a partner, so it stays underneath, plus or minus 3 root 5. So that's what that ends up being. Okay. Now let's do number 6 real quickly, and let's see if we can do the same thing. But hopefully you're getting in the rhythm now, right? So it's kind of the same idea over and over again. So let's add 10 to both sides, right? This is the solving of the equation, and then that will help us then to think about the square root down the end. 2x squared is equal to 142. Okay, that was the adding 10 on both sides. Now I need to, remember, make sure that you got your order of operations going correctly as you do this, right? So that looks like that. X squared equals, and then a 142 divided by 2 is 71. So then I get square root, okay? So then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 71. And again, I'm going to try to say, can I reduce this down any, right? Square root of 71. But as we try to, I can only think of 71 and 1. So I'm not going to see any partnerships there. That's all we got. But again, remember the plus or minus is super important on that. All right, so that's using some of our skills that we did earlier and solving. So think about your solving skills and your radical skills, mix those together. And what we have here is solving equations by taking square roots. Always think about simplifying them down as far as you can. So sometimes, like this number 5, we can simplify it down past the square root of 45. All right, don't forget your plus or minuses all along the way. All right, and we'll do some more review later.